Valley News Live at 10.
Good evening, I'm Justin Betty. Christmas is now just a few days away, and folks all across the country are getting ready to head to their holiday destinations. But Mother Nature could make that a daunting task for some people. Valley News Team's Nishay Taylor went to Hector International Airport in Fargo today to see how it's going so far.
We're super excited. I'm actually a nurse, so it's not every Christmas that I get to come home, and so I'm pretty stoked this year.
Airports across the nation will be busy this week with travelers racing to get to their holiday destinations.
I'm a student, and so the holidays definitely are some much-needed time off.
But this busy travel season means crowded airports and chances for major impacts like delayed or canceled flights.
I've had many unlucky flight days, and so it's definitely a very happy Christmas miracle for us to be here.
Fortunately, some travelers were able to beat the chaos.
It was like the smoothest flight day I think I can remember.
But others worry they won't be so lucky.
We are headed to India. We are super nervous, seeing last week's weather.
This family was even offered the chance to cancel their trip by the airline, but they say they were still willing to take that risk.
We want to meet the family for Christmas. With COVID, we have not been for a couple of years.
Many other families are also taking that risk, but they will have to brace cold temperatures and a potential snowstorm headed toward the East Coast.
Plan ahead, look at the weather, and hope for the best.
In Fargo, Nishay Taylor, Valley News Live.
To help avoid travel issues, experts recommend leaving early and allowing yourself some extra time to get there. The busiest travel days are expected to be this Thursday, December 22nd, and next Monday, the day after Christmas. But of course, the weather could change that. And if you're planning to drive to your holiday destination, keep in mind the roads are still slick. This is video of a car that slid off I-29 earlier tonight. We heard of many crashes throughout the valley today. For a look at what Mother Nature has in store for us next, here's First Alert Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson. Hutch.
The question may be what Mother Nature, what doesn't it have in store for us? Because we have a little bit of everything. The cold is taking hold. We're diving down quickly. And this morning, wind chills were colder than 50 below at many locations, Crookston to Candu, and in the 40s below for Grand Forks and for Fargo. First Alert weather days from now all the way through Friday. Let me give you the synopsis of what we're expecting. Brutal cold early tonight, then snow throughout the day tomorrow. That will accumulate. Then blowing and drifting in our area, creating ground blizzard conditions potentially all the way through Friday. Very tricky travel. Here's the storm system now, at least the northern fringe of it, while the southern portion of it is getting wound up in the Rocky Mountains once again. When it works through our area, by the afternoon drive tomorrow, 2 to 6 inches along and north of Interstate 94 and very close to the FM area as well. It will rapidly increase as we head down the I-94 corridor to the Twin Cities, where we could see some folks getting upwards of a foot of snow. It doesn't fall with a lot of wind when it comes, but then it really picks up wind-wise. Here's a look at the progression of this storm, and it's going to impact regionally. Airports in Minneapolis, Denver on day one, snow through Iowa, sweeping its way through to the Great Lakes, including much of Wisconsin, Chicago, St. Louis, and then off toward the East Coast as we head into Friday. So it will have impacts travel-wise, particularly in the northern part of the nation. Down south, some snow, inclement weather, and brutal cold as well. We'll have more on that snowfall forecast in just a couple of minutes, but right now your air temperatures are in the 20s below for most. Wind chills are still 30 to 50 plus below zero. I'll have your hour-by-hour details, and coming up here in a bit, we will look ahead at some warmer weather, and we'll tell you when.
Let's go. There's some scary temperatures there. Thanks, Hutch. Dealing with snow can be a hassle, of course, but our latest round cost some folks in New Rockford more than just their time and money. The roof of their historic movie theater caved in from heavy snow yesterday, causing extensive damage. The theater stood in town for more than a century, but the community is now rallying together to try and keep the cinema alive.
A lot of these are the only places that a lot of people have in North Dakota to see something on the big screen. These kind of small town cinemas are like the arteries for art and especially for film. And once we saw that this one was going to close, we knew we had to do something.
If you'd like to help, we have links to a GoFundMe on our website. Just click on this story. One person was hurt following an explosion at a Grand Forks business. It happened at LM Wind Power around 3 this afternoon. When crews arrived, they say everyone was already out of the building. The fire protection system was on. They couldn't find any flames when they went inside, so everyone eventually went back to work. One person was taken to the hospital. Still no word on their condition or what caused that explosion. A Fergus Falls man has been charged with murder after he originally reported a woman shot herself in the head in St. Paul. 44-year-old Matthew Ecker is charged with second-degree murder in connection with the death of 32-year-old Alexandra Pennig of St. Paul. Authorities found her body in the bathroom of her apartment with the gunshot wound to the left side of her head and the gun in her hand. Ecker told dispatch he called just minutes after she shot herself. But police say Ecker then changed his story several times. He's now charged with her murder. If found guilty, he could spend up to 40 years in prison. It didn't take long for Governor Doug Burgum to fill the open lieutenant governor spot. He announced today Tammy Miller will take over starting January 3rd. Miller served as chief operating officer since April 2020. She's also served as Border States CEO since 2006. Miller is taking over for Brent Sanford. Sanford's been in office since 2016. He cited a desire to return to the private sector and to focus on his family and his career for while he's stepping down. It wasn't an easy year, but newly released crop reports show the growing seasons in North Dakota were pretty good in 2022. And as Daniel Burbank found out, most farmers and ranchers are pretty happy with it too.
Cold temperatures mean the cattle on the Schmidt farm in Oliver County need extra feed to stay warm.
We're going to be moving snow for 2 weeks yet without any more accumulation. So we'll just take it as it goes. And you know, it costs a lot of money to move snow with $5 fuel.
Burley County Extension Agent Tyler Krolichek says in the past 20 years, many Burley County ranchers moved their calving season from January to mid-March and April. Earlier this year, the April blizzard was good for farmers, but a different story for many Burley County ranchers.
The death loss for some of those producers was pretty horrific and pretty sad, and we've even seen now this fall, after guys have weaned, having some issues with some respiratory problems that, you know, were probably attributed to that storm.
Tyler says many Burley County farmers told him their sunflower yields were some of the best ever.
You know, they're resilient people. You put up with a lot. I mean, we live in North Dakota. You know, we talk about some of the weather situations that we deal with.
A USDA crop report shows soybeans and corn were about average because the drought returned later in the growing season. On the Schmidt farm, once the harvest is finished, he fixes equipment for the next year.
When the combine's parked, you might have a few beers or whiskeys after that, but next day it's back to business as usual. There's not much for days off.
It's Daniel Burbank reporting. All the farmers and ranchers we spoke with say every yield is better than the drought year of 2021. The local Salvation Army received something a little extra special in their red kettles this year. Not one, not two, but 3 gold coins were found around Fargo. They're valued at more than $5,000. One was found at Hornbachers on 32nd Avenue South, another at the Northport Hornbachers. The FM Red Kettle campaign is about halfway to their $1 million Christmas goal. If you don't have change or can't make it to a kettle, you can also give virtually online. We have a link to that on our VNL News app. Well, temperatures outside are still very chilly. Staff members of the Broadway Medical Center caroled their way through the halls, warming the hearts of patients and families today. The holidays can be a hard time for some families, but Sanford says caroling through the medical centers is a way to bring them a little bit of joy.